Hey guys, it's Rachel. What's up? Welcome back. I hope you're all doing very well. I am big on the hand gestures today, but today we are making some adorable sushi soaps. They make awesome gifts. They make awesome gifts for yourself, for your friends, for your family, for random acts of kindness kind of deal. Whatever occasion you would like to make some fun, creative projects for, these soaps are perfect. The grammar of that was really weird. Let's hope Stanford isn't watching. But before we get started, make sure you tap that subscribe button for new videos every single week. And without further ado, let's hop right into it. To start off, we're going to make my favorite one, which is the Salmon Nigiri. So you're going to need some soap base for this, and I'm just going to chop this up into some smaller pieces, and this way it'll melt down nice and evenly and it won't take too long. Also, quick shout out to the Kawaiisweetworld Snapchat fam. You probably recognize this knife. But anyways though, I'm just going to throw those into a microwave safe bowl, and then pop that into the microwave at 30-second intervals just until it is melted down. And you're looking for a nice thin consistency like this. And then for our salmon fat strips, you'll want to pour this into a thin layer into some kind of silicone container that is ideally rectangle shaped. So something like a silicone loaf pan would also work really well. Once you have that good to go, just pop that in the fridge for about 10 minutes. And then you're basically going to repeat this process with a different container, but you want to make it a little bit thicker for the rice base. And that one you'll want to refrigerate for closer to 30 minutes. At this point, our thinner container should be ready to go. So I'm just gonna go ahead and slice that into some really thin strips. And again, this is going to be for that kind of salmon-y grain texture, so these don't have to be perfect. And then I'm gonna put these back into the silicone container, but at kind of wavy-ish lines to mimic the fat grain in the salmon. It's probably not called fat grain, it's just like salmon fat? I don't know. I'm not a marine biologist, guys, I just work here. But anyways though, just go ahead and set that aside once you have it ready. And then for the salmon color, you're going to want a salmon color, some kind of corally reddish hue. And I'm using soap color here along with some clear soap base, just so it looks translucent like fish. And then once you have your color ready to go, you want to let that cool down just a little bit, and that way it's not going to melt our salmon fat strips. So once it's cooled off a bit, I'm just going to go ahead and pour this over these salmon strips, and just make sure it covers the whole surface. And then you can pop that into the fridge until it's set up. And now we have our beautiful slab of salmon here. I think this one looks so cool, especially with that clear soap base. And then I'm just going to chop this up into our little pieces. I almost said fillets. It's not a fillet. It's like a little bite-sized rectangle. That's the technical term. But these are looking adorable, so go ahead and set that aside. And then I'm just going to pop out our rice base. So for this guy, I'm just going to trim these sides and then cut this into rectangles as well. And then you'll want to make them a little bit smaller than your top salmon piece, just so it looks more like sushi. If you'd like to, you can also round the corners of your rice base. Just watch your fingers though. And now this is looking so cute, so let's move on to the Tuna Nigiri. This one is basically the same deal, except I dyed the clear soap base red. And then I'll use a toothpick to add on that tuna texture. It's kind of like a wood grain texture, except there's no knots in it or anything, just wavy, smooth lines. And then for the Tamago Nigiri, essentially the egg one, same deal, except I'm going to add a swirly texture, and again, just using a toothpick. And then I'll round the corners as well. Looking good. And then I'm just going to glue everything together using some white soap base. So I'll just dab that on our faux sushi rice, and then press the tuna right on top. And then just go ahead and repeat that for the rest of your sushis. Adorable. If you want to add some nori onto your sushi, you can just stick some black soap on with some clear soap. And this adds a really nice contrast to your sushi. Now we can move on to our rolled sushi. This is also called makazushi. Probably not pronouncing that right, but it's the rolled ones. So to start off, I'm just going to pour some white soap base into some kind of mold. I'm using a cupcake mold here, but really it doesn't matter. We're just going to cut these out with cookie cutters later anyways. So once you have that ready to go, just pop that into the fridge for about 20 minutes, and then release them from the molds. Then you can just take a circle cookie cutter and cut out some sushi pieces. So here you can see it doesn't really matter what you use for your mold. It can be a loaf pan, it can be a silicone cupcake liner, really anything you have. For our nori, I'm just going to grab some clear soap base, and I'm going to color that black with some black food color. I normally avoid using food color when I'm making soap, just because if you add too much, it might stain your hands, but it's really hard to make black from soap color, so I recommend just going with a tiny bit of black food color. And then I'll just pour this into my silicone rectangle mold, and leave that to set. While it's still kind of warm, you want to take it out of the mold, and you can level off the top edge, and then lay your sushi piece right on top. Then you can use that as a guide to cut the bottom part of your nori, and even off these sides as well. And then we can finally just roll this up, just like a little sushi piece. Super cute. For the toppings, I basically repeated the same process of pouring the soap base into different silicone containers, and then I'll cut out some circles of each one of these. And this part is kind of confusing to explain, but I'm making kind of like a pie chart of different toppings by just cutting these into thirds and 2/3 and a half. And then you can just attach these onto your sushi with some clear soap base. However, I did find this to be a little bit tricky just because the soap has a tendency to slide around a lot. So a different method that I came up with is to ensure that you have a little bit of gap at the top of your sushi piece. Then you can just pour some white soap base inside the sushi. And then once that's set for a little bit, you can just lay your fillings right on top. And with this method, I just find that they're a lot more secure. This is totally optional, but if you'd like to, you can also make some sides for your sushi. So for some wasabi, I just poured some green soap into a cupcake mold, and then I popped it right out. To finish it off, I just cut it down to size, and now this guy is good to go. For soy sauce, I just colored some clear soap brown, and I poured that into a little sauce dish. Then I popped on my wasabi, and some sliced clear pink soap for ginger. And this looks so realistic, perfect if you're giving these out as a gift. These guys are guaranteed to make you smile every time you wash your hands. I love having them next to my sink, they just make me happy. So that is basically it, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video and these sushi soaps. If you are not subscribed already, then make sure you tap that subscribe button for new videos every single week. You can also follow me on social media if you like to at Kawaiisweetworld. The Etsy sticker shop is right up there, and my last video is right down there. Alright, well, I hope you're all having a great day. I will see you all back here very soon. Bye, guys!